Well, today I'm walking up Mortuary Hill to look at a very ancient Long Barrow, and I'm in Somerset. And just walking to the top of the hill now, and if I look over there, there we are. We can see the stones up there of the Long Barrow. Amazing. So we'll have a look at it and see what we think. But this is a really imposing hilltop, and there's a lot of mystery and history behind this Long Barrow. And I'll be walking the field perimeter around to it, but I'm quite excited because it's a Long Barrow I hadn't really known about until recently. And just coming into view now, we're on Mortuary Hill, which I'll go into a little bit later, and this is the area it's in, quite an imposing position. Well, first thing we can see are these two stones that are left, sort of like a megalith, if you like, and it's standing up there with another one resting against the side of it. And then looking towards the back, we can actually see the heap of a Long Barrow. This was a chambered Long Barrow, and they believe the stones may have been moved at some time. And it's in a very commanding position, and just on the top here you can see the views it has, which is quite incredible, all over towards Somerset and then on towards Frome, and it's just off the Orchard Lee estate. And then I'll come around here and back to the other view of the stones there. But it's not just stones in a field. This means much more from what I've learned about it. So with the stones behind me, what is so special about this? Well, it dates to 3600 to 4600 BC. Absolutely incredible in date. It has been dug at various times, and they found skeletons, bones and burnt bones, so it shows evidence of cremations as well at this spot. But it's truly an impressive place, and you don't really realise it until you come and have a look. I found it originally on side-by-side maps, and then it was sort of looked at it and thought, well, what are these? And they're listed as the Orchard Lee stones because it's on the Orchard Lee estate, but it dates back much further than that. So why was this called Mortuary Hill? Well, it's now these days regarded as Murtry Hill near Frome, and the reason that it was called Mortuary Hill was that the monks used to own the land in the 15th century, and they called it Mortuary Field because of obviously the symbolic stones that were remaining within here then. Probably would have been much more stones than are left today, but it must have been a massive Long Barrow. I will put on a LiDAR map, I will put on a satellite map, and I will put on an OS map, so you can see exactly where we are. In the 18th century, people would only visit this place in daylight. In the 17th century, stones were taken from it and used for other purposes. It must have been like a warehouse. You thought, oh, I can use the stones from this. Various excavations that have taken place. It was also visited by Richard Colt Hoare, who considered it to be a Saxon burial place. So although it was a symbolic place for Neolithic people, there's been evidence of cremations here, bones, skeletons, all sorts. But it's been a long time since anything was correctly excavated. I think the last excavation was 1920, and that was a very basic one. They believe that the big stones were left because they were too difficult to remove. But looking around, you'll probably find the stones in various locations around the environment. I'm not going to go on a stone hunt today, but I'm sure they're here, and it's just puts things into a perspective of early people, how they lived. This must have been a very tranquil place on a very important area, because you've got stone in the area, so you can mine stone out, you can mine flint out. Chirt's not far from here up the road as well, the chert fields that you can get out, so flint, chert, limestone, you've got it all really. And see what I think about these remaining 3 stones. But this stone here, the big one, is in the region of, well, they say 12 feet, but I'm not sure about that. And apparently there's been rumours that it goes 10 feet into the ground, but I'm not really sure about that looking at it either, with the small stone to one side. But you can see by looking at the top of the stone that it must have been something resting on one side of that. It's almost lugged like Stonehenge's in a strange way. And so it might have been a dolmen and another big stone removed at some time. Looking at it, it's quite possible that this was the entrance into the Long Barrow, and then obviously over time it's all been forgotten. There is a special feeling about these stones. You look at them from different angles and there's nothing like it in the environment, and it is a magnificent thing to see. And to think that it dates back, well, 5,000 odd years ago from today as a minimum, it's incredible. And I just really feel quite at peace in this area. Very nice indeed. And I think we all have got to try and imagine how these places would have been so symbolic back in the day, and how people would come here to eat, worship, perhaps have fun as well. Here, that's in the middle of nowhere today, but was on their line of, on their zone of being somewhere and doing things, living in the area. Amazing. So in summary, Mortuary Hill, well, that is a very strange one, isn't it? But it just goes to show how things change over a period of time and how things move on, and then it gets degraded to a word like Murtry from mortuary. So it meant something to everybody that was here. Just get past these brambles, and I think that is the main point of it. It meant something. It's a bit like visiting a church for ancient people, and really you can't get much better than that. I can't come out with anything more wonderful than it was a very special place to Neolithic man, and to us today it's fairly forgotten about. So another Long Barrow off of my list. Thank you very much for watching. Until the next time, goodbye.